Blood has memory. It stains. It whispers. It remembers everything we try to bury. And tonight, blood remembers Dexter Morgan. The screen stays faceless. No person, no identity, only shadows shifting across a dim, sterile room. The sound of dripping water echoes, slow and steady, as if time itself is waiting. A black-gloved hand slides across a table, brushing against a set of surgical blades lined neatly like a soldier's arsenal. The camera never shows a face, only fragments. Of presence, hands, tools, faint silhouettes. The faceless video style hides the man. The audience already knows who breathes in the silence. Dexter Morgan. Narration begins in a calm, low voice. It's not rushed, but calculated, spoken like someone telling a secret only to themselves. The voice admits that death was supposed to be the end, that his bloodied past was meant to dissolve into the shadows. But death was never enough. The darkness never left him. It only waited. And now, like the tide that always returns, Dexter has resurfaced. His rebirth isn't glorious. It isn't heroic. It's cold. It is inevitable. The visuals shift, quick flashes of crime scene photographs, nameless victims. Red-soaked evidence bags, chalk outlines. Each image dissolves into another, carrying the weight of death. Over these visuals, the narration reminds the audience of Dexter's code, the strict rule left to him by his adoptive father, Harry. Kill only the guilty. Hunt only those who prey upon others. That rule is his compass, his mask, and his justification. Without it, he would just be another monster. With it, he is a controlled monster, one who convinces himself he serves justice, but something is different this time. The voice admits that Dexter's return is not about survival or even hiding anymore. It is about unfinished business. A shadow darker than most has risen Prater. A man whose crimes spill across the city like an infection. He's brutal but careless, savage but without restraint. Unlike Dexter, he has no code. His victims are random, undeserving, torn apart with no logic, no purpose. And that, to Dexter, makes him unworthy of life. The narration sharpens. It's colder now, as faceless images build tension. A plastic sheet unrolling across a floor. Duct tape sticking against a gloved hand. The hum of fluorescent lights filling the emptiness of an abandoned space. Dexter's voice admits he should have stayed buried, should have remained in the grave history dug for him. But men like Prater draw the darkness out. Men like Prater wake the monster that never really died. The screen cuts to black for a moment, leaving only sound the slow rhythm of a heartbeat. Then a whisper. I am not back to live. I am back to kill. This section closes with the setup clear. Dexter Morgan has returned from the silence of supposed death. His purpose is singular. His prey has been chosen. His resurrection is not salvation. It is blood. Asterisk night bleeds into the city like a slow infection, swallowing neon lights and choking every alley in shadow. Somewhere between silence and sirens, a predator watches. He does not smile, does not breathe too loud, does not exist in the way others do. Dexter is a shadow within shadows, following the trail of another hunter Prater. The camera never shows faces, only fragments. A reflection in a rain puddle, a silhouette framed against a broken streetlight, the faint glimmer of binoculars pressed against gloved hands. The faceless video thrives in detail, a drop of condensation slipping down glass, a notebook page filled with scribbles of names and dates, a knife handle traced by cautious fingers. The narration whispers calmly, telling us what we already fear. Prater is not just a killer, he is chaos in human form. Unlike Dexter, he does not choose carefully. He tears into lives without pattern, like a storm without warning. The screen cuts quickly, crime scene snapshots, flickering like they are stolen from hidden files. Victims' photos blur, not out of mercy, but because their suffering is unending. A mother on her way home, a college student lost in the dark, a shopkeeper closing up too late. All gone, cut open by the same restless hands. The narration pauses, letting the silence breathe. Then it sharpens. Prater kills because he can. I kill because I must. That is the difference between us. That is why he will not survive me. The hunt unfolds like a ritual. Dexter sits inside his car, engine off, eyes locked on a warehouse where Prater disappears each night. Faceless visuals. Carry the weight Dexter's hand writing down Prater's schedule in neat surgical lines. Cut to a digital recorder rewinding. The scratchy sound of Prater's voice caught on tape. Cut again to Dexter's toolbox opening. Plastic rolls and syringes lined up like instruments for an orchestra of death. Every shot faceless, but every movement alive with intention. The voice grows colder, darker, painting Prater as prey without dignity. Dexter explains how predators make mistakes. They believe no one is watching, but someone always is. He describes Prater's ritual, a bar downtown, a drink too many, a conversation with a lonely stranger who never makes it home. Dexter has memorized the rhythm. He has traced every step. He knows where Prater hunts. He knows where Prater hides. The faceless shots intensify Dexter, walking through empty parking lots, camera locked on his shoes, stepping in puddles. Dexter's hand brushing across a blood-stained wall, his gloved finger tracing the evidence. No one else notices. He stalks with patience, not rushing, not trembling. His voice describes the silence of the hunt as something almost holy. For him, this is not survival. This is destiny returning. A new sound creeps in Prater's laughter. Recorded from afar, it doesn't sound human. It rattles like broken glass in a rusted pipe. Over it, Dexter's calm voice explains the difference between predators. One feeds on fear for chaos. The other feeds on fear for justice twisted into ritual. The tension builds as the visuals cut between Dexter's tools being prepared and Prater drinking under neon lights. Unaware that another predator circles him, the narration softens, almost a whisper. As the heartbeat sound returns, he thinks the city belongs to him. He thinks no one sees the trail of bodies he leaves behind. But I see him. I see everything. And I will end him the way I end all of them. Carefully. The section closes on a haunting image. A faceless shot of Dexter's gloved hand shutting off. His car lights. Silence. Only the rain remains. The hunt has begun. And Prater is already dead. He just doesn't know it yet. Asterisk, the hum of fluorescent lights fills the silence like a distant swarm of insects. Cold white, unforgiving. The screen reveals only fragments. Plastic stretched tight. Across concrete walls, duct tape crisscrossed like scars. Silver instruments lined in surgical perfection. No faces, no bodies, yet tonally the architecture of death. This is Dexter's church. This is where his faith in the code becomes ritual. A slow pan across the room shows preparation. A gloved hand smoothing out the plastic, testing it for weakness. A scalpel lifted and examined under the glare of a single bulb, the blade shining sharp enough to split light itself. The camera lingers on a roll of tape, its serrated edge reflecting faint red stains from a past no one remembers but Dexter. The narration begins, cold and steady. Every predator has an end. Tonight Prater finds his. The visuals cut darkness, then sudden blur. Prater jolts awake, wrists bound tight with leather straps against the table. The shot is faceless. His body reduced to twitching limbs, the camera focusing on veins pulsing against restraint. His breathing floods the speakers, ragged, panicked. He thrashes, but the tape holds like iron. The camera avoids his face, lingering instead on the tremor of his fingers, the pull of his muscles, the sweat dripping from his skin. Dexter's voice cuts through the chaos with terrifying calm. You kill because you want to feel alive. But you've never understood what it means to take a life, to feel the weight of judgment. Tonight I'll teach you. Prater's muffled screams echo, muted by the plastic that surrounds him, bouncing back like his own sins haunting him. The faceless video emphasizes this. With distorted sound design, the cries looped, warped, stretched until they sound inhuman. Dexter's hands move in silence. One glove adjusting the strap on Prater's wrist, another hand preparing a syringe. Filled with a cloudy liquid, the needle gleams as it touches light, then disappears into darkness. The narration slows, dissecting Prater piece by piece, as if the voice itself is performing autopsy on his soul. Dexter lists his crimes with surgical precision, each one layered with a cut of imagery: a police file snapping open, a bloody shoe print, a shard of glass stained red. You thought no one saw you, but I did. Every move, every night. You've left behind more than bodies. You've left patterns, patterns only I can read. Prater thrashes harder, his body arching against the straps. His chest rises and falls like an animal in a cage. The camera cuts to Dexter's knife, hovering above him, unmoving, waiting. The narration sharpens. This isn't about choice, it's about balance, and you've tipped the scale for the last time. A heartbeat begins again in the background, slow and deep, like a drum. Thud grows louder as Dexter prepares, his tools clicking into place one by one: scalpel on metal tray, rope tightened, gloves snapping against skin. The rhythm syncs with Dexter's movements, giving the illusion that his very heartbeat is guiding the ritual. Prater's muffled voice breaks through the soundscape, pleading, bargaining, trying to summon humanity. But the narration cuts him down with chilling detachment. You want mercy? But mercy is for the innocent. And innocence has never been a word tied to your name. The camera closes in on Dexter's hand, holding the scalpel above Prater's chest. The shot lingers, the tension unbearable, the heartbeat now deafening. The narration drops to a whisper. This is where chaos ends. Black screen. Silence. Then the sound of a blade slicing through plastic, clean and final. The kill is never shown, only suggested, leaving the audience in the echo of inevitability. The section ends on haunting imagery: a gloved hand slowly placing the bloodstained scalpel onto the tray, the hum of lights dimming, and the camera drifting upward to the ceiling, where a single drop of blood slides down plastic, glowing red against white. Prater's final scream fades, leaving nothing but silence. Dexter has delivered judgment. Asterisk silence is heavier than blood. The room is still, suffocating under the weight of what has just happened. The hum of the fluorescent lights seems distant now, fading into the background like a memory already slipping away. Plastic sheets sag slightly on the walls, streaked with crimson trails that catch the light like broken veins. The camera does not linger on the body. Instead, it drifts across the aftermath tools, scattered in controlled disorder. A blood-soaked glove abandoned on the floor, duct tape curling at its torn edge. Dexter's voice enters. Not triumphant, not regretful, low-and steady, the same cold precision as always. Prater is gone, another predator erased, a balance restored. For now, his narration feels less like a confession and more like a verdict, delivered in a tone carved from years of ritual. The screen shifts to close-ups, Dexter's gloved hand peeling away a sheet of plastic, folding it carefully, tucking it out of sight. Order from chaos. This is how he cleans the world. The visuals slow, each action deliberate. The audience watches. Faceless hands scrub crimson from a knife, rinsing it in a metal basin where the water runs pink before fading to clear. Another shot. Duct tape being cut away from the table, tossed into a black bag that swallows everything it touches. The rhythm of these images is methodical, hypnotic, mirroring Dexter's ritual of erasing evidence. His voice overlays the silence. No one will ever know. They never do. His story ends here, locked in plastic, buried in the ocean, forgotten yet. The voice begins to falter not in tone, but in implication. A pause creeps in between sentences, as though even Dexter is questioning his certainty. The faceless video shows him carefully closing his toolbox, snapping the lock shut. The sound echoes like a gavel. Final, but the narration admits, it was supposed to be my last, the final kill. The darkness buried with him. The screen cuts to black for a moment, leaving only the faint sound of Dexter's breathing. When the visuals return, the perspective has shifted. Now we see the city at dawn streets washed in pale light. Rainwater draining into gutters, neon signs flickering out one by one. Dexter's faceless figure moves through this world unseen, passing by ordinary people, starting their day. His gloved hand brushes against a lamppost, fleeting connection to a life he can never truly live. The narration grows softer, almost reflective. They wake with hope, with love, with plans for tomorrow. Tomorrow doesn't belong to everyone. Sometimes it belongs to men like me. The heartbeat returns, faint and irregular this time, like something buried but restless. The camera cuts quickly, a black trash bag sinking into dark water, bubbles rising and vanishing, a knife blade being slid back into its sheath. A pair of gloves burning in a steel barrel. Each image suggests closure, yet none of them feel final. The voice admits the truth. I told myself this was the end, that I could stop, that I could let the darkness sleep again. Then, a pause. The silence stretches too long. The audience is forced to sit in it, unsettled. Suddenly, a new image flickers, an unmarked police folder being dropped onto a desk. A faceless hand flips it open. Inside, photos of another crime scene, another victim, another trail of blood. The implication is clear. The world will never run out of monsters. Neither will Dexter. His voice drops into a whisper, colder than, "Before the code isn't finished with me?" The final shot holds on Dexter's faceless figure walking into the distance, swallowed by fog and streetlight glow. Its outline fades until only the city remains alive, pulsing, oblivious. The heartbeat sound lingers for a few beats longer, before cutting off abruptly. Silence. Text appears against black. Dexter Resurrection. The end or the beginning. And then nothing.